Hello, everyone. Welcome to Real Packer Fans Know. I'm your host, Caleb, Frenchie, whatever you want to call me, but I'm the host of this program. Welcome to episode 1 of Real Packer Fans Know podcast, YouTube, whatever you want to call it. We got some news this week. It kind of a slow week, although this Friday news dump, as I'm recording this, we had some big news drop about the kicker position in Green Bay, so we'll get into that. Other than that, pretty slow week. All right, slow week. Not a lot going on with the Packers. I mean, it's May, so it's probably a good thing there's not a lot going on just because, they're not a dysfunctional team, to say the least, and we should be thankful for that. But there are some topics we'll talk about. I got my notes down here with the topics and stuff. Look at me, all professional. But yeah, we don't have a lot of topics, but we're going to stick to it. We're going to stick to the script. We're going to go. But before you do anything, make sure you like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you leave a comment on the page. Also, check it out on Spotify, Real Packer Fans Know. Also on TikTok, Real Packer Fans Know. And also my Twitter, Real Frenchie _. Super easy. Check me out. Give me a follow. But other than that, I mean, let's get into the show. We'll start in chronological order, I guess. The first topic I had was just the coordinators spoke, okay? The Packers coordinators all spoke. Specifically, people were more focused on the two new guys, Cam McCord, the new special teams coordinator, and Jonathan Gadden, who hasn't spoke since he was hired for the defensive coordinator position because Jeff Hafley is now in Miami. Excuse me. But Gannon had some interesting stuff to say. I know Jason Wilde asked him a question. He works with ESPN Milwaukee, but he asked about his scheme. And Gannon really doesn't have a scheme, and he's not set to one scheme. I know his quote sounded something like this, not exactly, but he said he's not going to force guys to run something that he likes if it's not going to work. So that's some good news. We're avoiding the Joe Barry issue we had a few years back with the Packers defense. So that's a good thing. But he said, they're going to be watching a lot of film of, Arizona, where he previously coached this past season before he was fired. Also in Philly, where he had probably his best season as a defensive coordinator. And also he won some college stuff in there too, Alabama and Georgia. So this guy's coming at every angle with what he's looking to build this defense with. He's not sticking to a specific 3-4, 4-3, as I said before, but that was really his big thing. I think the Packers held him away because he's had some weird instances with the media, and he's probably a nice guy. I've never met him. He's definitely a nice guy, but he's had some weird moments in the media. You can look those up on your own time after you watch this show. But yeah, that's about it. And then Adam Stenavich, the offensive coordinator, spoke, and his big line was he was talking about Matthew Golden. And I know everybody wants to see more Matthew Golden, okay? I do. And I think he's going to have an expanded role because per Adam Stenavich, quote, it's going to be a big year for him. That was the quote. Super small, simple quote. He's going to be involved in this offense. Now, I know a lot of people were wondering why he wasn't involved last year. More so. I mean, the Packers did have a lot of mouths to feed, but with the departure of Romeo Doubs to New England, Dontavian Wicks to Philadelphia, Golden's going to get touches, okay? And he may be more involved early in the season, okay? Especially with Tucker Kraft coming back from his injury, which we do have to watch that. That's something I want to talk about because Tucker Kraft getting back to full form right away, it might take a little time, so don't be surprised about that. But this is some exciting news. I mean, Matthew Golden being more involved. He's a first-round pick receiver. Second year this coming season, so hopefully he's involved more. There really isn't a lot to say about it right now, at least until we see these guys get on the field, because we've seen the Packers say they want to get guys touches and then they barely throw them the ball. So that's a problem that we see a lot, which that's up to the coaches. I'm not coaching up in Green Bay, so that's their decision. But it would be nice to see him. I mean, at the end of the Bears game, he had that touchdown. I thought that game was over. I really did. And it was a culminating moment of the season. Matthew Golden, great play. scores a touchdown, Packers go up. But of course, they would lose in the end. So that kind of stunk. But other than that, I know Cam McCord, the special teams coordinator, spoke. He's talked about the kicking competition between Brandon McManus, Tyler Smack, and also Lucas Haversick. 3 kickers on the roster. But that'll tie into our news later, as I was talking about. But the next thing that happened this week, Tyrod Taylor, backup quarterback. He is the Packers' official number 2 quarterback. He's 36 years old right now, turns 37 once the season starts. Veteran guy. He's played for a lot of teams. He's been a backup a lot of places. I think it's a good fit. Okay, he's definitely a better option than Desmond Ridder or Cade Klubnik, I think, is the other guy running for the job. So good to see Tyrod Taylor. Apparently he was at rookie minicamp already in Green Bay. So the Packers must have settled on this deal a while back because he's already up in Green Bay this week. So that's exciting. Packers have a backup, one less thing we have to worry about. And there was also an article about Micah Parsons and Tucker Kraft. Now, both these guys, we know. They're studs. They're great players. They impact the game like no other. As we saw and as we felt once they had their season-ending injuries. I mean, Tucker Kraft turned into the number 1 option for the Packers. He was great. Just Jordan Love's go-to guy. I mean, he's a guy who the Packers don't have a lot of yards after the catch guys, and you have a guy like Tucker Kraft who can make plays like he can and shake off tackles. Not a lot of guys on the Packers can do that. I mean, Josh Jacobs can when he's not getting hit at the line right when he gets handed the ball. So very few guys like him. Super excited to see him. But I want to get into this article. Brian Gutekunst, he had some comments. This article's from Pro Football Talk. It was not written by Mike Florio, though, if that gives you anything. I know people might have some beef with Mike Florio, but that's besides the point of this. But the big quote from Gutekunst, here's the end quote. I'm getting used to this thing, all right? End quote. They're doing great, Gutekunst said in a recent interview with SiriusXM NFL Radio. Tuck's been in here every day, and he's obviously a little bit ahead of schedule. Just because his injury happened earlier than Micah's did. Excuse me. But Micah's he's a little bit of a freak. So I think some of that has taken over. And he's doing really well as well. Quote. And then end quote. Quote again. So certainly expect both of those guys back early in the season. That was the big part of the article. And they'll be a big part of what we're doing going forward. End quote. So Brian Gutekunst expects these guys to be back early in the season. This is kind of old news if you've been paying attention to the reports. I mean, Micah had surgery, I think, after his kid was born after the season. If I remember correctly, I'll have to double check that. But Tucker's was early enough in the season. We might see him week 1. Now, he's due for a contract. And I think the Packers are going to be very cautious with what they do with him, especially in the early weeks of the season. I know we all want to see him back out there, but I just think he's going to have to take his time. He'll probably be on a snap count because that ACL is no joke. And when he went down, man, it was just earth-shattering. Just killed the vibe. And then they lost to the Panthers that game. I mean, that was tough. But both are ahead of schedule, which is the main point of the quote. But that was pretty much it. I mean, Micah Parsons, he'll probably be a little later in the year just because his injury happened when they played Denver. That was the 6th to last game of the season. So need Micah back out there too. Hopefully, I mean, that guy, there's certain levels to the athletes in these pro sports. And Micah Parsons is a guy he's really just, he's a freak, as Brian Gutekunst said. He's a freak. He's going to recover better. He hit the genetic lottery, so to speak. I mean, he's built different. He's one of the NFL's biggest stars. And, don't be surprised if he's not back by week 1. They were saying week 3 or 4 at the end of the season. at the end of season press conference with Gutekunst and Matt LaFleur. So that's really about it for that. I mean, you just want the guys to get back healthy, because when you look at the team like the Packers, they were beating the Broncos, and you lose a bunch of star players, including Zach Tom. That's another big loss. These guys who make an impact on the game so much, they cover up for so many other guys. And that's what Tucker Kraft does. We've obviously seen it with Micah Parsons and the defense. When you can't generate pressure, the cornerback group is exposed, which is something the Packers struggled with last year. So hopefully we get avoid injuries at all costs, if we're being honest. That's the goal. But football's physical, and it's gonna happen, so we'll see. Hopefully their recovery goes well. Okay, that's another thing too. Jonathan Gannon, he's gonna be calling plays from the field, not in the box where Jeff Hafley was calling plays last year, the last 2 seasons. I think that's a little interesting. I think for defensive coordinators, you probably want your guy up in the box, but we'll see when this thing kicks off in the fall when Gannon's calling the plays. But, I mean, you could be up in arms about it. It's their preference. He's been a head coach before, whether his result was good or not. If he thinks he can perform better on the field calling the plays, so be it. I don't think that's big of a deal, but that was about it. And there was also some more news. Lucas Van Ness, his 5th-year option was exercised by the Packers, so he'll be around. I think he's getting paid like $15 million, if I'm reading this correct. Some people were up in arms about this. I saw ESPN Milwaukee was kind of upset about it. I think it was Ben Brust, Kyle Brust and Nortman. They got a showdown there, but I really thought that he played well. He played well with Micah, and he got hurt in the middle of the year. I think it was the Bengals game. He had this crazy sack on Joe Flacco, just absolutely pummeled the guy. And then he went out with I think it was a foot injury or something, ankle. But then he came back, and, he's not Micah Parsons level, but he was doable. And Micah Parsons has continued to praise him in practice. So, and off the field as well, social media, stuff like that. So he has confidence in him more than Rashawn Gary, and that's a whole nother rabbit hole we could get into, because I don't think Micah Parsons liked Rashawn Gary at all, and he's not a high snap count guy. That was the big quote about Rashawn Gary last year, coming from Matt LaFleur. I believe he said that. So that's interesting. LVN, 5th-year option exercised. I think he'll be fine. If he can produce 8 or 9, 7 to 9 sacks, I think that's a good year for him. Obviously, he's a first-round pick. You'd expect more, but from what we've seen so far, I mean, what are we really expecting? 7 to 9 sacks. I'd go on the heavier side, 9 preferably. I should also say the cornerback room. That was another thing Jonathan Gannon talked about with the defense. It's wide open. The room is up for grabs. His quote was, "Roles are not defined by any means," said Gannon in his press conference. So obviously right now, cornerback 1 is Keyshawn Nixon. A lot of people have mixed feelings about him. A lot of penalties, especially in that playoff game. Got Carrington Valentine. His job is probably up for grabs. Nate Hobbs is gone, but they signed Benjamin St. Juste, I think his name is, from the Chargers as a free agent. And they also drafted 2 corners. So it's going to be interesting, because you got some youth at that position. You also have some experience, whether you like Nixon or not. And he's also in a contract year. So he might be playing his butt off and surprise a lot of people this season. But then the Packers are going to have to decide, with a load of other extensions next year, are they going to keep Nixon, or what are they going to do about it? So that'll be interesting to see. And then I guess the final big news that I had, it was reported not long ago. Let me look this up. Bear with me. Hang on. 3 hours ago from Adam Schefter via X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. After drafting Florida kicker Trey Smack in the 6th round last month, the Packers released veteran kicker Brandon McManus today. Brandon McManus is not wearing the green and gold anymore. That's pretty crazy considering LaFleur and Brian Gutekunst said, and Cam McCord, the new special teams coordinator, that there was going to be a competition for the kicking position. They said that, and they made a move early. And it was also posted a couple days. Well, it was posted with the breaking news today, but it was also said that he was paid his $1 million bonus like a couple days ago, and then he's just gone now. So, but I'm also seeing here Brandon McManus, he posted a little thank you. I'll read it off of, it's on his Twitter. He made the post with AI. It's flagged with AI. It says, it's a big graphic. Thank you to the Green Bay Packers organization, the fans, and my teammates. From the moment I arrived, you welcomed me and my family with open arms and made us feel at home. The support, kindness, and passion you've shown us mean more than words can express. The environment at Lambeau Field is truly incredible. There's nothing like running out of that tunnel and seeing an entire community united by love for this team. The energy, the pride, the tradition, it's something special. To be part of a franchise with such rich history and tradition is an honor. The legacy of this organization inspires me every single day. Thank you for trusting me, believing in me, and giving me the chance to be part of something so special. That is from Brandon McManus via his X account at the Kid McManus. So I know there's a lot of mixed feelings about Brandon McManus. He costed us that playoff game, if we're being honest. Missed a lot of field goals, extra points. He was injured throughout this last year. The kicking controversy with Haversick, who came in, kicked the franchise longest field goal, and then he just sat the bench while McManus came back, and he was clearly hurt. I think a lot of people would agree with that. But with the Packers making this move, it says a lot of things. One, I think the good thing to look at this is Trey Smack, they trust him. They trust him a lot. And they want the competition between him and Haversick. I think it also makes sense. They got rid of a guy who, I don't want to say there was turmoil in the locker room with him, definitely with the fans. But I guess when you have this competition, he was dealing with the competition last year, and we're just going to put even more pressure on these guys to make kicks. I kind of like that they made this move because, come the season, if Trey Smack is the kicker, which I'm thinking he is, if they traded 2 picks to get him in the 6th round, I think it's going to work out for Smack, and he's going to be a rookie. There's obviously pressure. That comes with sports in general, but McManus, he's a veteran. Sure, you could say his experience is something that other teams could value. They might trade for him if they kept him on the roster. But I just think it was a better move for the Packers. It wasn't a lot of money. They paid his signing bonus and he's gone. So he's not getting paid a lot of money. The Packers aren't facing a heavy bill in that regard. And yeah, it's just between Smack and Haversick now. I mean, that's about it. Brandon McManus had some great moments. Obviously, I think he kicked that game winner against the Houston Texans a few years ago. That was pretty awesome. And he made a lot of kicks. I mean, the Packers were struggling to find a kicker. And when they signed him, there was a lot of scrutiny about him, especially with his history. There were some allegations there, but, the fan base really loved him until last year, obviously. But he served the Packers well in his time besides the playoff game. But that was the big news today. Brandon McManus cut from the Packers. I guess really that was it. I mean, it's a slow week, like I said. I'm not sure what else to really say. I mean, this is the first episode. I'm sorry for the pauses in between. I'm not really gonna edit all this out, but I mean, basically the Packers trust Trey Smack. And I like that. I like the confidence because Goody, needs to hit on some draft picks. And why not hit on a kicker? I mean, for 15 years, special teams at some point has plagued the Packers. And if they trust Trace Mack, maybe they just figured something out. So hopefully that works. But thanks for listening. Make sure you like and subscribe on the YouTube. Leave a comment. Also go to Spotify, listen to the episode, follow the page, leave a nice rating. But yeah, this is episode 1 of Real Packer Fans Know. Yeah, that's about it. I don't know what else to say, but keep on the lookout for more posts. We're going to post weekly. I think that's the goal, to post at least at the end of the week to give a recap of Packer news during the week. But if you want instant updates, check out my Twitter, X, @RealFrenchie. All the socials will be linked below. I'm not going to say it again. I keep saying it. But follow my socials. You'll get quick updates, TikTok, X, Twitter. But other than that, go Pack Go, and stay tuned for more.